Thanksgiving is over. Is your tree up? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. It's our family tradition that on Thanksgiving weekend, we pull out all the Christmas things and we start decorating. And usually that means we're decorating a tree at some point in time. Not always Thanksgiving weekend, but usually pretty quick in there. Because for me, it feels like it's not really worthwhile to have your decorations up unless you can have them up as long as possible. So we usually will set them up this weekend and we will keep them up until January 1st or so. Putting those away is something to do on New Year's Eve, and it can help us stay busy that night. So generally we keep them up at least until then, sometimes a little later. Anyway, today's layout is a tree. Bet you couldn't guess that. And I hope it's one that you will use in your album. It should go together really easy. We're going to do a couple of trees this season in some different layouts and do them different ways. So I hope you find one that works for you and you put it in your album. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started on today's version. All right, so this is my workspace for today, and I have a variety of papers on the disc for this. Some of them will be part of what will become the base sheet, and some of them will become our tree. And we'll probably need to pick out a few more to add, but these will be the main components of today's layout. All right, so all of my prints over here will be portions of the tree, and then the remainder of these papers, the cardstock and the polka dots, will be our base sheet. So I'm just going to move the papers that are going to be a part of our tree over here for just a second. We're going to start by, let's start. Okay, I'm going to move those two dark green pieces, and I'm going to move one of the polka dot sheets. Okay, so of my two polka dot sheets, this one you'll notice is not a full 12 by 12. We are 2 inches shy of a full 12 by 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a portion of this red cardstock and weld it to my polka dot sheet so that I can have 2 full 12 by 12s with the polka dots. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and cut a 2-inch piece from this cranberry cardstock. And then I'm going to take this remnant scrap piece and I'm going to cut 1 inch of that. So you can weld with 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch, just depends on your project. And I don't know, I just decided I was going to use 1 inch, so because that piece was 2 inches wide, so I thought, well, we would just cut it in half. All right, so I'm going to flip this over and add my cardstock right up to the edge, place my cardstock right up on the edge of this designer piece of paper. And it looks like it's actually a hair longer than my designer paper is, but that's okay. It's pretty doggone close. I think we'll be just fine. All right, and I'm going to take my permanent adhesive, the little strips, and I'm going to go across it, across that place where those pieces are meeting, that seam right there. And by going across it, it kind of reinforces the weld. And then I'm going to take this extra piece of 1-inch paper and place it evenly over the weld, over that seam, and just lay it right down on top. And then those two pieces are welded together like they may as well have been one sheet. See? So awesome. Okay, now we've got 2 pieces of paper that could be our base sheets. However, we are going to trim these just a little bit. First, we're going to start, I'm going to set these aside just for a second. We're going to start with our dark green. I have 2 pieces of 12 by 12 dark green. We're going to make this a frame, but we don't need the whole piece of paper. We only need the outer inch of this. So I'm going to make a 1-inch frame that, and that way I can save the paper from in here and use it to scrap another day. And it will lighten my page up just a little bit, which is going to be helpful. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and start my cut at the 1-inch mark. I've lined up this edge on the 1-inch line of my graph right here on the side. I'm going to start cutting at 1 inch here, and the way that I know how to do that is I place this side of my blade housing on the number 2 point on my ruler on the side of my bars, okay? And then if I start my cut there, I will know that I'm starting to cut at 1 inch, because this line on the side of my blade housing is where my blade is coming in contact with the paper, and it's exactly 1 inch from the front and 1 inch from the back. So a little bit of math involved, but not too much. Okay, so we're going to start cutting at the 1 inch mark and cut down to 11. And I'm going to start that again just to make sure that I cut all the way through both layers of paper, because it can be a little bit difficult to tell when you are cutting 2 pieces of cardstock. All right, so yeah, we are good to go there. Fantastic. Okay, so we're just going to rotate these 2 pieces and do our best to keep them right together. And we're going to continue that cut 3 more times. You can rotate clockwise, you can rotate counterclockwise, whatever makes you happy and works for you. Okay, one more and we will be good to go with this paper. Right. Sometimes you have to pull it apart just a tiny bit on the corners. All right, good. Now this paper is good to be used somewhere else, and we've got our frames ready to go. All right, now the next thing we need to do is determine how wide we want the paper that's going to go on top of that frame. I believe that I want that paper to be 11 inches. So let's go ahead and, do I want 11 or 11 and a half? Actually, let's go with 11 and a half and make it even just a little smaller. And that's because I want to make sure that I have enough room for my tree. So 11.5 square, which is easy to do on this 12 by 12 piece. We take a 1/2 inch off of this side, turn it once, and take a 1/2 inch off of this other side. All right, and there is our 11.5 inch square. Okay, perfect. Now, this one, I want to try to preserve as much of this 2-inch section over here as I can. So instead of taking any from that side, I'm just going to take a 1/2 inch from this side and turn it and take a 1/2 inch off the bottom here. Okay, so those are going to be our unused pieces, and those will be our used pieces. All right, so let me grab my adhesive and we'll just go ahead and get these put together. Okay, so we're just going to center this on top of the green frame that we made. Go ahead and smooth it out so that it's nice and attached to that outside edge. Okay, there's one. Set that up there. Right. Once again, just going to center this the best I can right on top of that green frame. Okay, now this is going to be the side, the left or the right hand side of my layout, and this one will be the left hand side. And we'll do something fun with that red seam, that red stripe. But let's go ahead and jump over to these papers. Now I've selected a bunch of papers that are mainly green with a little bit of an alternate color in them, and you're going to see that on the back of these sheets of paper are many more colors, predominantly red, but there is also gold and more green and some white, and those are the main colors of these papers. That's important because this design is going to show the alternate side of the paper. So you have to make sure that whatever color you are using is acceptable and going to work well for your design. Okay, so right now I'm going to use this piece and I'm going to cut it at 3.5 inches. We're going to make a 3.5 inch square from this paper. I'm going to set that up there and move this one over here. This next paper, we're going to make a 4-inch square. Isn't this a nice plaid? Really like this plaid. This comes from, I think it was Christmas Cheer that this one came from. Okay, we're going to turn this and cut it again at 4 inches. Set that up there. This one comes from Winter Woods, and this one's going to be 4.5 inches. All of these are meant to be squares. Next one is 5 inches. Just increasing 1/2 inch each time. The next one is going to be 6 inches. Let me see if it is already 6 inches this way. It is. Perfect. So we just need to make sure that's 6 inches this direction. Is that right? I think it was, this one was 5. So actually this one should have been 5.5. So I'm going to cut it down by 1/2 inch because I want the patterns to stay in the same order that I had them on the back. So otherwise I would cut a different piece, but that one's 5.5. All right, then this one, I don't remember which one this one came from. So if you remember which one this one came from, maybe you can put it in the comments so that other people will know. It has this really cute print, tone on tone, with the candy canes and the snowflakes. And actually, this one might not be a CM paper. I'm pretty sure it is, though. I don't tend to mix them up or mix them into each other. Anyway, okay, so that one is 6. And then we're going to use this holly paper. I'm going to pull the arm out on my trimmer, and we're going to measure this one at 6.5. All right, there we go. Okay. Now that we have all of these cut and ready to go, I'm going to keep them in the order that they are already in. And I'm going to measure and mark them. That's what I'm going to do with this next step. All right, so we're going to grab my ruler. I have one right here. And I'm going to measure each one to 1.25 inches. All right, so I'm going to measure, hang on just a second. I want to know 1.25 inches from this corner right here. 1.25 inches is here. And I want to know 1.25 inches in towards me from this side as well. 1.25 inches. Okay, so that one's going to sit there. Now I'm going to measure 1.25 inches from this corner and 1.25 inches from this corner. So basically, for all of these, we're going to just measure and mark 1.25 inches from each corner. Not from each corner, from two corners, the opposing corners. Did you kids ever play that game? Someone would ask, "Are we there yet?" And you would say, "We're almost there." All right. Now that we've measured all those, we're going to grab our printer. We're going to grab our trimmer out again and our scoring blade. Okay. Now you have to be careful with scoring blades. If you're not familiar with the CM scoring blade, it's meant to dent your paper. However, if you are not careful, it will cut through, especially the designer paper. So be careful as you score these from mark to mark across, just enough to dent your paper, okay? Just enough. These darker ones, it is definitely tricky. All right, there's one mark. Tricky to see your marks. There's one, and there's one. Oh, see, I went through over there. Darn it. All right, well, I just need to be a little more careful. There's a mark. There's a mark. Last one. There's a mark, and there's a mark. All right. My straight blade back in, because I've learned the hard way not to leave my decorative blade in my trimmer. Okay. Now we're going to go through, and on each of those score lines, we are going to fold so that the green side is the folded side. So on this one, it doesn't really matter because both sides are green. You can tell I was a little aggressive with my scoring blade because my papers are, several of them have cut portions. All right. Now what we're going to do is, oh, actually, I'm just noticing that I have done this wrong, and I need to right. I need to fix this. Okay, so where I have scored it, I actually need to move it over by about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put my scored line on the 1/2 inch mark. I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to score it. So I need to get my scoring blade back out. So rather than scoring it at 1 1/4 inches from the corner, it needs to actually be more like 1/2 inch. So like that. I'm sorry. So mine's going to have all kinds of extra creases in it. That's okay though. At least I caught it before we got too far. No adhesive was involved yet. So basically what I'm doing is I am placing my scored line on the 1/2 inch mark, which is the very first beginning of this grid mark. And that way I can make sure that the new score line is going down evenly. One more, we will be good to go, I think. I hope we're good to go. Should be. There we go. All right, that works so much better. Okay. Now we're going to take our smallest 2 triangles, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our repositionable adhesive and add it to the flap that is folded up. So not the wider one, but the shorter one. We're going to just go ahead and adhere that down on that smaller one. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to take that smaller one and I'm going to place it in here so that the edges of the fold are even. The points are pointing together and the edges of the fold are right on the edge of that piece underneath it. Okay, then I'm going to add adhesive to the outside portion of this one and go ahead and adhere it. Actually though, just noticed that I did this one backwards. Oh, I'm having a hard time tonight. I should definitely I might need to do this one again because my adhesive is lifting the green off, and I definitely did this one backwards. Well, I think it will be okay. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so we're gonna lean this so that our points are pointing to the same spot, and our fold is lining up out here on the outside. All right. There we go. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back. And we're going to grab our next piece. Make sure the green side is out. That was my mistake last time. Okay, so our points are lining up this way. Folds are lining up out there. I need a refill on my jumbo. Repositionable. Stick that over there so I don't accidentally grab it. All right, we've got 2 more. Helps if you are really careful about the way that you have cut things and you have straight lines on your patterns, on your patterned paper. That can really help you keep your tree lined up. All right, now you can either have your tree go this way if you like all the different colors, or you can turn it over and have your tree go this way. It is definitely up to you. This side is going to have more of your solid color scheme. This one is going to give you more variation. So let's look at what it will look like on our base sheet, and then maybe we can decide how we want that to go. Okay, so we've got that way, or we've got this way. I kind of like the green, mostly green. Let's see. Let's grab this one. We'll put next to it. I think maybe we'll move this. We could put it right in the middle, kind of like we did in that last layout where we cut the turkey portion of the turkey. Then we'd have half the tree on one side, half on the other. Or we could do the tree over here on this side and do pictures up here, title over here, and then photos on this page. You could really place it wherever you would like. We could even scooch it over this way and do our photos up here with the title over here and the photos over here. So lots of different options there for our tree. We also need a trunk for our tree, at least a small one. So let's see, I think one of these papers had, this one's got a wood pattern on the back. So we're going to just cut a portion of this. I'm going to do, let's do an inch. All right, whose job was it to tell me to switch my blade back and forth? All right, here we go. I honestly haven't had to be told to do that in a while, in my own defense. Okay, so there's our trunk. And the trunk is not going to be a long trunk because we can't go above there, and we want to put a star on the tree. So let me find my star punch. Be right back. All right, so any of these punches will do. This one is from way old CM. This one is from the mini trio punch set that came out with Out of This World. This one is the open star punch, so you actually get 2 different stars with this one, which is kind of cool. And it is a little bit almost this size. So let's see if we can determine what size star we need on top of our tree. I think that one's too small. That one actually might be kind of cool. Either of these would be fine also, but I think I'm going to do the open star because I like it. I think it's pretty. And I've got some gold shimmer here we'll just use. We can do either one of those, and that would be lovely. I think we'll go with that. All right, so we need to make our I want to say stump. That's not a tree stump. Not that you know. All right, we're going to do that, and we're going to add this using a little bit of repositionable adhesive. Just like that. And then we'll come back in here and add our repositionable. And I'm going to put my tree closer to this edge. All right. Now, what are we going to do about this border over here? Well, we're going to use our corner punch, or square punch, sorry, but we're also going to come in here with some of our fun patterned paper to make those. We could use that. We could use that one. So I'm just going to cut or punch. I'm going to punch probably 5 of these squares. Let's do 2 of them out of this gold pattern. Two of them out of that stripe, and we'll just do one out of the diamond pattern. And that should be good. I don't think we're going to use this one. All right. These we are going to place hold on, sorry. We're gonna move this bottom one. How's that? Okay, I'm going to center this on my grid so that I can see my measurements easily, quick and easy. All right, so I've got this main line is my center spot. Put that right there. Just going to evenly space them. All right, and then we could make ribbons or we could just put bows. And I think I'm going to go with just bows. So, all right, so if you have the bow punch, that is going to be perfect for what we need here. If you don't have the bow punch, I need you to write to Creative Memories at their product suggestions. So it's product suggestions at well, let's see. I'll put it in the description of the video because I'm not remembering right off the bat. But we need another bow punch, I think. Many people have said they really, really like this punch, and they really, really wish that we could have it replaced. And I have to agree with them because it is super cute and very useful. And we need one. So it's super cute. I need one more. And then we can go ahead and just add these bows to our packages. They're so super cute. They're embossed and just perfect. So we're just going to put these on the packages. Oops, I put my adhesive on the wrong side of that one. I'll wipe it off and start again. And actually, I need a different color because this one's going to be too much the same as those two gold, or yeah, the two gold packages. So we're going to just do it like that. And then I'm going to get some green. This is Parakeet Shimmer. Because bows should be sparkly. Don't you agree? I think so. There we go. All right, so we're gonna just get these green ones put on. The gold packages. I love me a red bow, but we've got a red background, so we need to not put red bows on these. All right. So now we just need some mats to go with our layout. And we could actually add a couple packages down here. I think that would be super cute. So we'll use those bows and add a couple more packages underneath the tree. And maybe we'll use red to create our mats for the pictures that are going to go on this. So let's do 3 3/4. We'll make these square, 3 3/4 square. Which will take a 3.5-inch photo. And we'll cut another one. Just let's see if we can fit it in on the other side. Maybe. And this is going to be, it's more than 6 inches. So we could do 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. There's 2 of them that are 4 1/4 anyway. And this piece that's left is 3 1/2. So you can do a 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. Lots of different possibilities with this. Well, we could trim that one down just a little bit and make that another grouping. Maybe. What is this one? This one is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. So let's make this one the same. So 2 that are 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. I like that. That's a lot of photos on there, but I think that looks nice together. That gives you seven pictures, or possibly even more than 7. You could put one in here like that, even, or across the tree like that, or just leave them up there. Up to you. Or you could bring these down and put your title up there in the corner, and we'll do a couple of more smaller gifts down here to match these. Look up the side. All right, I think that's going to do it for me today. You'll be able to see the picture of the finished version, and I might do a little bit of ink work on this tree. I'm trying to decide if I need to or not. Maybe it may make it too busy, but I'll see. I'll see. I might do a little bit of ink work. So you'll have to look in the finished picture and see what is there. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. I think this has been fun, and I hope that you can do something creative with your Christmas tree. Even if you only use it on a 1-page layout, it's a fun and easy way to make a tree. All right. Thanks so much. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Have a great day.